So you want to spruce up your home lighting, maybe get rid of one of these ugly dim pendant lights and put something a bit brighter and more fancy in. Well, you've come to the right video, because in today's video I'm going to share with you how to do it safely and properly without blowing yourself up. So make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So I don't normally teach people how to do DIY electrics, but actually I know that people do this a lot. We get called out to situations where people have tried it and they've just messed it up completely. So I'd rather teach people how to do it safely and properly so that hopefully they don't get into such a pickle and we have to clean up their mess. So first of all, let me show you what tools you're going to need. A voltage tester for safe isolation, or absolute bare minimum, a volt pen, a terminal screwdriver, a posi screwdriver, preferably PZ2, some cable cutters, some cable strippers, and an impact driver or drill driver. So first step is safe isolation. Make sure that the light is dead before you start working on it. Now you can use one of these, but there's a problem. Let me show you. So that's on. I'm going to flick the switch off now, remove the bulb. Then I'm going to flick the switch back on, and in here you'll see it's live, right? So then if I flick the switch off, it's dead. So that makes you think, okay, it must be safe to work on, right? Wrong, because up here there is a permanent live that is not switched. So here it's still live, even though the light switch is off. So we need to isolate this at the consumer unit or fuse box. Now the way I like to do it is use one of these, because these can be unreliable and give false readings or no reading at all when the power is actually on. This is a more reliable way to detect voltage. It's a GS38 voltage tester. I'll show you how it works. Basically, pop it on there, so you're neutral, you're live, you can see there's power there. If I go onto the switch live side, there's no power because the switch is off. If I flip the switch on, we have power. So that terminal, which turns the light on and off, is controlled by the switch. However, in the middle here we have a loop terminal, which has all of the permanent lives looping in and out to the next room's lights in. It's just like a connector block basically, but we need to make sure that's dead before we start work. So let me show you the fuse box downstairs. So the light's first floor there is labelled circuit 7. I'm going to just flick that off. Now if you're not sure which circuit your lights are on, or they're not labelled properly, my recommendation would be just to turn off the main switch here. That way the whole house power is isolated and you should be safe. But if it is labelled, you can turn it off like I've just done. Now we need to check to see if that's really the case or not though. So now we're just going to check, and everything seems to be dead now, but we'll check it with our voltage tester here. And it's important to check between line and earth and neutral and earth too, not just between line and neutral. So that's all dead, we're safe to work. So step 2 is to disassemble the old light, but what I'd always do first is take a photo of how the wiring was before. That way you can always look back and try and put it back together in one piece, at least, if you do start to get confused and it all looks like a bit of a mess. Well, if you don't know how to take a light down, then you probably shouldn't be attempting this in the first place. So you know, I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs. So there's a danger here that a lot of DIYers do when it comes to changing lights. See the wires here, you've got 2 blues, 3 browns and 1 brown. However, that brown looks slightly thicker. There's a reason for that. This is actually a blue wire that's sleeved with brown because it's the switch wire, as we call it. It's the live wire that comes back up from the switch so that when the switch is turned on, power goes into this terminal. If the sleeving falls off of this when you take the light down, you're going to have 3 blues and 3 browns. I'll show you. That could cause a big problem. So this is what I mean, right? It's actually a blue wire sheathed with brown, and if you're not careful, that falls off. You suddenly think, oh, I've got 3 browns and 3 blues. Connect them together, right? However, this is not a neutral. This is the live wire when the switch is on. So if you connect that in with the neutrals there, and then you turn the circuit back on, it's just going to go bang and it's going to keep tripping. Just for those of you who are curious, I'll show you how it works at the switch end so you can understand a bit better. Because you might be wondering, well, why is it sleeved brown but it's a blue wire? What's that all about? So here at the switch, you can see it's the same. We've got a brown wire and then we've got a blue wire sleeved brown. The brown wire goes into the common terminal. That is permanently live. So it goes into the loop terminal at the light fitting and it sends permanent live power down to here. Now when the switch is switched on, these 2 terminals link across and then it sends power back up this one, which is the blue sleeved brown. The reason it's sleeved brown is because the identification colour for a live conductor is brown here in the UK. A blue conductor indicates that it's a neutral, but standard twin and earth cable in the UK has a blue and a brown, so it's just a way of easily using a normal cable as a switch cable that actually has two live conductors in it. So in order to avoid the sleeving from falling off and you finding yourself in that difficult conundrum, what I do is just bend the end up of this wire, and then that will stop it from slipping off and causing you that problem. So we're fitting a pizza on the ceiling today. Not really, it's a pizza shaped light. This is just for demonstration purposes because I'm just doing this for the video today. Actually, this light is more suited to a bathroom or something like that. But the principles are all the same. No matter what light you're fitting, it's the same principles of getting it wired up the right way round and doing it safely. This is a nice bright LED light. We do use these quite a lot in certain situations where the customer wants a nice bright light. And it's from Knightsbridge. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can get one of these. So what you want to do is disassemble the new light and follow the manufacturer's instructions to make sure that you're installing it correctly. In here we've got a live and neutral terminal, but we don't have a loop terminal and we don't have an earth terminal because this is a class 2 light fitting. It's got this double insulated symbol on it, means it actually doesn't need an earth connection, but you're still going to need somewhere to connect all your earth wires together so that another light fitting in another room has an earth, because if you separate them all here, the other lights further on are not going to be earthed, and that could be really dangerous. So this is what we call a grommet. This is a safe and neat way to run the cables into the fitting, if I can actually get it out. The cable can go through there, however it's only really got enough space for one cable in it, so you might need to do some kind of junction box in the ceiling or put a slightly larger grommet to allow for 3 cables to come into the back of the light. So what we're going to do here is deal with the wires that we can deal with straight away. So the neutrals, we can pop them straight into the neutral terminals in the light fitting here. Then the live here, that's the one that goes to switch on the light. So remember which one we need to use. It's this, the switched live. So that will unfold now and pop into that terminal. So as I mentioned earlier, these 3 brown wires are the permanent lives. So you've got one coming in from the consumer unit, one going out to the next room, and then one, which is this one here, is the permanent live down to the switch, and then it comes back up the switch live there. So we need to connect these 3 together like they were in the previous fitting, and we can do that using a Vargo connector. And these are super easy to use. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can get one of these for yourselves. You just push the wires in like that and give a little tug to make sure it's secure, and those wires are all nice and tight and secure and connected together. So we're going to do the same with these earths and just connect them together, but they've sleeved 2 together in one sleeving, and that's no good, especially if you're using the Vargo connectors. So we're going to redo the sleeving and just put a brand new bit of sleeving on each of these separately. You can get this 2mm earth sleeving from your local wholesalers, and it's important to always sleeve these bare copper earth wires, because otherwise it can cause problems down the line with things shorting out. I like to give these a little twist to straighten them up. Slide the earth sleeving over, bend it back so you can see the end of the wire, and then cut a little bit back so you've got just enough to go into the terminal. So we've got our wires all connected together there. We're going to seal up the little hole with some silicone. The live, switch live, and the neutral are connected into our terminals there. All we need to do now is secure the light fitting to the ceiling with some screws and plugs, and then we can put the cover on and turn it on. Now, as an electrician, what I would now do is do some electrical tests on this to make sure that everything's correct, that it's properly earthed, that the polarity is correct, etc. However, if you're a DIYer watching this, you're probably not going to have the kit to be able to do that, which is why I'd always suggest that you get any electrical alterations or additions done by a qualified electrician. If you don't connect all the wires together properly in here, this light might work, but one of the other lights further down in the same floor might actually have a problem, like a lack of earthing or reverse polarity or something like that. So you do need to be careful, and I would turn this on, check that this one works, but then check all the other lights in the other rooms to make sure that they're working correctly as well. Just going to flick the power back on now. Let's see if it works. So I've just gone down and switched all the electric back on. I've come up and it doesn't work. And this is a completely natural illustration of what I mean, right? The Vargo was just not quite in properly. And that's just because I didn't push the wire all the way into the Vargo. So I probably didn't quite strip it back enough. Important to follow the manufacturer's instructions. I think it says like 12 mil of copper to go into the Vargo. So what I'm gonna do is just push that in properly now. And then that's much better, that all works. So I hope you found that video useful in order to not cut off half your lights when you're changing a few fittings. If you did enjoy the video, it helps if you like and subscribe, but we've got loads of other cool videos like this. So if you click here, you're going to watch a video about us installing a load of garage lights, which you might find useful. And if you watch a video down here, you can see a video of us installing a load of outside garden lights in a beautiful luxurious house. But either way, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.